can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're back. You know, there's some people that just follow where everyone is at different time periods. I guess mostly me, but now AJ is kind of on that list, at least for now. I mean, AJ in Atlantic City, and then 5 seconds later, he's back. So good thing he has the teleport system.
He loved it so much. He's back in Florida right
yeah,
now.
that was your Jersey experience, AJ. We'll get to the poker later, but your Jersey experience. You've got 2 Jersey natives on the show with you today.
Something
Careful.
caught in your throat. You're good. You were 2 down south. You got to come up north a little bit.
I know the best part.
Listen, Scott. As you saw, the weather was amazing yesterday.
It was incredibly gray.
And then the traffic, driving to Philadelphia to fly out this morning. Oh my gosh! I thought Orlando had bad traffic. Man, that traffic into Philly. My Uber driver this morning was like, "You might not make your flight, buddy." And I was like, "No, I'm making my flight. You're gonna just ram some people if you have to."
I actually make fun of my now Orlando neighbors because they complain about traffic. They'll be like, "Oh, it's so backed up. I'm going to be late. It's like 10 minutes of traffic."
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like, 10 minutes? You're a joke. Welcome to New York, New Jersey.
I'll take 10 minutes all day.
Hell yes, I'll take 10 minutes. If it's only 10 minutes of traffic, I'd take that every day. But a big part of AJ's trip also got himself a little Foul Territory sweatshirt. I actually got my hands on one yesterday too. Todd Father got one. FoulTerritoryShop.com. Very well done. The merch squad, shout out, did a very good job.
I'm gonna rock mine tomorrow.
You got it tomorrow?
Yeah,
all right,
better.
good. Actually, we need
too hot to wear it here.
Sometimes. yeah, you're good for now. Although sometimes it's chilly in Studio AJ.
Studio AJ.
A little
I like
fresh.
that. Studio AJ.
It's a little warm outside though to be rocking the full fleece hoodie.
It is. Rub it in. And lastly, before we get to some topics, you unfortunately missed Tim Kirkjian yesterday, which is unfortunate. But
Yes,
if you'd like to give us a sentence or two from what you think he said, we would take it.
Well, listen, we had a good conversation. I talked with AJ. For some reason, he was a little skeptical about some of the choices I made. Like, what does he think? What does he know? It's crazy.
There you go, Tim.
That's good. That's good. You want to grade that? That's pretty accurate.
No, I'll take it. Thank you very much.
He was good. Listen, those two together were awesome.
They are, yeah.
You got 2 of the best, brother. I mean, in our time, I think, in my opinion.
Agreed. Ken Rosenthal and Tim Kirkjian were on for half of yesterday's show. So if you want to check that out, go for it. But for now, let's charge the damn mound. There's so many signings going on. Let's get to it. Nah, just kidding. But we do have rumors, so let's kick them around. And we'll start with the Angels' interest in Joey Votto. John Heyman said that the Angels are interested, and it sounds like Votto obviously also has interest in going to Toronto. Not sure if it's totally neutral, but Heyman at least mentioned that he wouldn't rule out Votto going to the hometown Toronto Blue Jays for him. So what actually hits me the most out of all of this, because I don't know, I mean, what Joey's going to look like in 2024. I don't think he's going to be an everyday player. I don't even think he wants to be an everyday player, but he wants to play. It's going to be weird with him on a different ball club. Yeah,
it's going to be strange. I mean, whatever team he goes to, I think of the Joey Votto who used to go do crazy things in the off season. And he was the guy that would take a minivan and travel all through California. So he does know California really well. He's worked out there. I mean, I can see that being a nice fit for him, being a veteran guy coming through, helping some young guys out and, focusing on baseball. But it sounds strange to say it, but this is his time when he gets on a team to kind of just settle a little bit, help a little bit, but not necessarily be that Joey Votto where I know he's going to do it anyway, but in the cage, 24/7, getting better swings, wanting to be the best. Yeah, they want that, of course, but he's going to be there for veteran presence. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him, knowing he's not going to play every day. And I think, with his mindset, I could say all this stuff, and I think, honestly, he's still going to go out there, do his cage work, do everything he has to do, and try and be the best first baseman in the league. But if I'm him, I'm going to comfort. I'm going to be excited. And if you got, we're getting close to spring training. If you got 1 or 2 teams, you better start he better shit or get off the pot,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. So hopefully this is true for him. He deserves another year with somebody, and we'll see what happens.
AJ, remember when we talked to Will Benson about Joey Votto's impact? That one hit me because, Todd Father can talk about this in a sec too, but you don't know which veterans are really helping guys. And to me, that was like a very direct case study of a player who took a turn and had a breakout year, and he gives a lot of credit to Joey.
Agreed. But here's my question for you guys. If you have the option between Toronto or Anaheim, which one should you pick? Because one of them's going to compete this year and the other one's probably not.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to Toronto for
And
sure.
also, it's Joey. He shouldn't care about
Canadian,
money.
too.
He care about money, but
No.
here's my point. If Joey gets a
No.
1-year 3 from Toronto and a 1-year 5 from the Angels, for a guy that's made, what, $200+ million in his career and has never won a World Series, where's he signing?
He's going to Toronto, I would assume.
Shouldn't he?
Yeah.
If he wants to win on his way out or try to win. Not saying the Blue Jays are going to win a World Series, but their chances versus the Angels is night and day.
And that's a good in-between guy for Vlad over there at first base. Vlad goes 5-6 days a week. Joey, step in there. You face that tough throwing right-hander or whatever. You got Garrett Cole there. Who, you know what I'm saying? Vladdy hits well off him. Don't get me wrong. But just for an example, he can easily come in there and play a couple times and do a very good job.
Angels fans, or I should say Blue Jays fans, really want him too.
Yeah.
They want that little
it's like that Russell Martin kind of deal, he called for him at the end. When we went to Montreal, we played an inter squad in Montreal in spring training, and they had Russell Martin's one of his family members sing the national anthem, and then they announced him. It was unbelievable. The crowd, the excitement for Russell. I was like, dude, this is like game one here. It was really cool to watch, and playing in Montreal, that was pretty cool too. AJ, have you ever played in Montreal?
No, the year I was supposed to go to Montreal, we went to Puerto Rico instead.
Oh, well.
Damn.
But
they're right. They're very close to each other, Montreal and Puerto Rico. From San Francisco, they're both very close.
They have their pros and cons, both those cities, though. They're both.
Yeah.
They're both
I'm mad
cool.
I missed Montreal. I heard Montreal was amazing from everybody that went there.
It was.
They said, other than the stadium, they said the city was unbelievable. The people were amazing. The stadium obviously sucked. But, listen, if I'm Joey Votto, I'm going to the best place I got to win. If I have two options, I'm going to the one where I got a chance to win. And playing-wise, I don't know if he's going to play at either one. The thing about Anaheim is they have Shanwell, right, the rookie kid who did okay, is right out of college last year. So they're probably going to want to get him the most at bats. So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic. But Toronto, they need a left-handed hitter. He could DH. He could, like Todd said, mix and match with Vlad when Vlad needs a day off the turf to give him the DH time. So, a lot of signs point to Toronto. But again, as we always say in free agency, it takes two to tango. And do we even know that Toronto is interested in bringing him there?
No, not for sure.
No.
Also, Toronto needs to make sure that they get their offense in check, because their offense was mid-tier last year, which was disappointing based on what the roster looks like. They've lost some dudes, and they haven't replaced all of them. Whit Merrifield gone, replaced by IKF on offense is a loss for them, right? Kiermaier's back. That's all they've done to the lineup card, right? And they've lost, of course, Matt Chapman and Brandon Belt for now. And even Joey, no offense to Joey, but Brandon Belt had a pretty good year last year. If I'm picking one or the other, just for their production on the field, I think that Brandon Belt's a better player, a better hitter right now in this stage of his career than Joey. So you add that up, then I don't know what's going to go on with Chapman, but if he doesn't come back too, I feel like they need to make another move. Even if they do bring Joey back, I'm fine with that, of course. And I do think that he could kind of light up this team, or at least provide another kind of set of eyes and a veteran presence and a coach almost in a way like he did for Cincinnati, maybe to kind of get through to some guys, but still think they need another bat to compete in that division because it didn't work for them. Do you agree?
Another
Agreed. They need help.
Yeah.
They need help offensively for sure.
There's tons of free agents out there. So,
Heck, look at their playoff run. Their 2 games they played. They scored, 1 run or whatever it was in 2 games against the Twins, or no runs maybe. I don't remember.
It was 0-1. It was not good.
It wasn't a
I think
lot.
that last game they lost, 3-1? Or was it 2-0? Whatever it was, they had nothing. They had nothing.
Whatever it was, they didn't score enough runs to win.
They lost. Yeah.
And the Twins didn't exactly bang the ball around the field either in that series. So it was they need Vlad to be better. They need Bichette to stay healthy, and he was pretty good last year, but they lost Chapman. They need Kiermaier to be better. They need Alejandro Kirk to come back to what he was before. To me, the Blue Jays offensively have some holes.
I agree. Yeah, their offseason better not be done yet. And Jeff McNeil's going to come on in a sec, but while we have one more moment, just on a guy who's going to add some versatility. So Mark Sheldon of MLB.com says Jonathan India is going to continue to kind of play all around the field. He said he could appear at first base, left field. So at least for now, he's on the team and does provide them depth. I mean, they added Candelario, but is he going to be a super utility player now is the question.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. And I think
to stay on the field, right?
To stay on the field. I mean, if I was him, it's a tough situation, but, not to be quick with it. It's just one of those things where when you come up as a youngster, you be that super utility guy until they find a spot. Now they found a spot. Now you're super utility. So it's a different. It's going to be a whirlwind for him to see where exactly he plays.
Well, let's actually get some insight here from our next guest joining us. He's ready to go. We'll get to the main reason why he's going to steal the show. He's the people's champ, winner of a big-ass golf tournament. But Jeff McNeil of the New York Mets joining us right now. Good to see you, Jeff. It's been a minute, man. And just to carry the conversation in there for a second, I mean, you've obviously transitioned and played multiple positions in the big leagues. How has that been for you? And is it underrated how difficult it is to just be like, yeah, sure, let's try out, the outfield. Let's go back to second base. No big deal.
Yeah. It's something I've done my whole career. It's not easy. I was lucky enough to do it in college as well. So I had some experience, doing it in the big leagues. Wasn't the first. I didn't get to do it a lot in the minor leagues, which is what I really wanted to do. I remember telling them like, hey guys, can I play some outfield? Can I, play some third base, second base, kind of move around. I always wanted to play center. So, but they're like, no, we can see you just as an infielder. And then, when I was playing well in 2018, right before I got called up, they started having me play some outfield and, just really enjoy it. I think it takes a certain mindset. You really have to, want to do it. You have to enjoy it as well. It's not easy. It takes a lot of reps, especially during batting practice, making sure you're out in the outfield, getting those fly balls and seeing the ball off the bat. But it's something I've loved to do my whole career. When people ask me what my favorite position is, I tell them I love moving around all over the diamond. I think it's super fun. It keeps it fresh every day.
All right, so enough baseball talk. Let's talk golf here. Where's your trophy? Where's the trophy?
I haven't got it yet.
You didn't take it home with you on the airplane? You didn't have it like in the seat next to you?
Yeah, I think they're engraving it right now. So hopefully get it in a week or so. But that thing was heavy. That thing was not light. So definitely a good piece of hardware there.
Well, okay. So what are you going to do with your check? Also, I have to ask you because people don't realize you got $100,000 check. So I mean, are we buying something with the $100,000?
We're building a house right now, so that's by going towards my my golf simulator room. My man cave. I'm gonna have a awesome room in there. So won a golf tournament, so why not put a pretty cool golf simulator in there?
So okay, so people don't know. People that didn't watch, you won the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions, the celebrity division. I played in it. I only finished 38 strokes behind you. So, I mean, I was close. I was very close. I mean, listen, hey, I did fine for myself. Some of us don't get to play golf every day like, New York superstars. It's okay. But my question is, were you nervous coming down? Because, I mean, I was there I was watching when you were coming down. And at one point they had you and Mark Mulder tied and they made a mistake in the scoring. So you didn't know you won, right? So were you nervous coming down 18? Because 18 is a hard-ass hole like Nona.
Yeah. So I remember, I think I was on 14. I think I bogeyed 14, and I knew I was one behind Mulder. So I kind of wanted a scoreboard watch just to kind of see where I was at. And I think I birdied 15. Mulder birdied 15. I parred 16. Mulder parred 16. And then my caddy comes up to me on 17 and goes, "You want to know where you're at?" I go, "Yeah, I need to know where I'm at." He goes, "You're one back. You got to make a birdie." So I think I hit it to 5 feet on 17. Missed the putt. Unfortunately. So I knew I was one back going into 18. And I kind of liked that. I mean, it kind of made me, have to step up and hit a driver there. So, piped the drive, hit the next shot into, pretty close. And actually, before I hit that shot, I was talking to one of the guys from Golf Channel. They said, Mulder bogeyed here, so if you make par, you're in a playoff. But I knew birdie won. Hit it close, missed the putt, unfortunately. But it was definitely, a little nerve-wracking coming in. And, I thought I was going to be in a playoff, and then found out in the scoring 10th that, I'd won it.
I was laughing because I was watching on 17. You hit it close, you missed the putt, and you could just see you were like, I can't. That might just cost me.
Yeah.
And then you got to 18.
One on 18 was worse. I mean, I thought I knew it was to win, which was good. Like, I knew if I made the putt, I win. If I missed, I'd be in a playoff, and actually knocked it like 3 feet by. And that's the putt I was nervous over. I go, don't look like an idiot here. Don't miss this and miss a playoff. And I missed a few of those that week. Putting is not easy. It's the reason I'm playing baseball, that's for sure.
Well, did you have fun?
I had a blast.
Okay, good.
Just hanging out with all the boys, all the tons of MLB guys out there was awesome. Got to meet some other celebrities, and those LPGA girls. They're incredible. For people who say they can beat them, they can't. There's no chance. They're so good. No chance at all. I mean, I thought I played pretty well for the week. I think I was 7 or 8 over, and the winner was 12, 14 under, something like that. I mean, they're incredible. Their short game's awesome, and incredible people as well.
AJ, one thing I know about Jeff, he's not doing the side action like you did during the golf match. Jeff is straightforward. He's going for the win, Jeff. Am I right by saying that, or you did a little side action?
I actually had no side action.
I knew it.
Wait, did you not even get in the skins game? Because there was
I got
celebrity
game. I want to skin the third day. I made eagle on 11. No, I'm always in the skin. The skins game is where it's at. And I actually eagled hole 9 the first day. I thought that was a skin for sure, and Ray Allen taught me. So, I ended up winning one skin. I got my money back. That's always good. Money back.
I won one too. I just want you to know I birdied 18 the second day, and it was a lot because it was the only skin all day. So they were like, Joe Carter's brother Fred runs it, and he just walks up to you and just hands you a wad of cash, and just drops it, and you're like, yes, I'm not going broke this week.
That's amazing.
That's got to be a good little.
It was 8 or 900.
Okay, not bad.
But then I bought a pecan pie for him for 100, so that cost me a little bit. And then,
Wait, what?
yeah, I know. Joe Carter makes the best pie.
Does he?
Pie
It better be if it's worth $100.
Hell yeah.
It's unbelievable. But I just wanted one, and they're like, I can't give you a whole one. I'm like, here's 100. Give me one. They're like, next day, right there, poop, sitting by my locker.
I'm stoked for the penthouse next year. The winner gets the penthouse. So
yeah.
We got to have the boys up there and celebrate a little bit.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. What's more nerve-wracking, bro? Playoff at bat or coming down 18, getting on that tee and saying, you know what, I got to win this thing.
18, it wasn't too bad. I think if I was winning and I knew I had a 2-stroke lead and I couldn't put it in the water, that's probably more nerve-wracking. But I think because I had to make birdie, I had to be super confident, step up and hit a good shot. But I'm gonna say. I was more nervous on the first tee the first day than I was in my big league debut at the plate. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, it's tough. Baseball is you can hit the ball anywhere. Just get a good pitch and you can hit it. Line to line. Golf, you got to hit it. Pretty damn perfect every single time, which doesn't make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could see you playing golf when you're done playing baseball.
Todd,
go ahead.
Todd, listen. So Jeff doesn't know this, but before the whole tournament, you get like Smoltz and I get like D'Lo, and I get all the guys that are like really good at golf, and they're like, and I think you were at Drive Shack on Monday night with all of us, and they're like, I heard McNeil's really good. I go, yeah, he's probably gonna win. And like Smoltz's face is like, no way, bro. Mulder and me and D'Lo, and I go, listen. From what I've heard, that dude is really good. He's probably going to win. No way. And then you did it. So thank you for backing me up.
No, hey, buddy.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Come on. He's got his crisp
bring the babes in there. What's up, big dog?
Yeah, he was his first golf tournament as well, so he was actually great out there. He walked. He had to stay a little bit behind because he was screaming. He was going. He saw me. It was like dad. Like he had to be there. But
thank
little man plays golf or baseball. Hopefully both for sure.
Thank God he's got his mama's look there. That's a good thing.
Not me. That color shirt, not me. That on the TV.
Oh, that's so funny. Hey, let me ask you this: you got a couple guys coming over, Harrison Bader, Sean. Mania, you got a squad here that's coming. You got maybe a couple more pickups coming. There's a lot more free agents. Is there anybody, not only those two, but there's guys that you're looking forward to meet, playing with, the excitement of the Mets coming up this year? How you feeling right now about the Metropolitans?
Yeah, we're making some good moves. I know it's not kind of that off season that we had last year, but we brought in a bunch of solid players, solid guys as well. So looking forward to meeting them. I get to meet Pete's college teammate, which is awesome. I don't have to face McNeil anymore, which is nice. He's a tough lefty out there, so glad he's on my side. And we're making some good moves, and I think we're going to surprise some people.
Yeah, do you feel like the expectations are lower than what they should be just because they haven't had this massive spending offseason? Aside from actually obviously throwing the bag at Yamamoto, but he said no.
Yeah, no, missed out on it, which is unfortunate, but I think the expectations are still high. We still know we have a good team. We need to go in there and play well. We could still make the playoffs. No doubt in my mind. We had some good players, and last year was a little bit of a letdown, disappointment. We expected a lot more, but this year guys are hungry, and we're gonna fight, and we're gonna battle this year.
Let me ask you this, dude. From playing with you and understanding like the person you are, you don't take anything but perfection. You work your butt off. You get after it. You were frustrated a little bit last year. I know that wasn't the numbers you want to pick up. You look at your average. You're a guy that goes out there and is a 300-plus hitter. I love it. Hey, get in there, big dog. You're a 300-plus hitter year in and year out. You're not always going to have a great year. Talk to us about the frustration level and basically, how long did it take for you to move on? Like, what does it take? Did you talk to somebody, or are you just like, you know what, I know who I am?
I know who I am. I know the kind of player I am. I know the numbers. I expect like 300 every year. I think that's a pretty good year for me. And if I hit 300, I'll have some power numbers as well. Just from the doubles, and I'll hit a few over the fence. But 270. It wasn't my worst year. I think 2021 was definitely my worst year. So I think just some things didn't quite go my way. But if you look at, I think the last 2 months, I started swinging the bat really well, and that was kind of more the player. I think I had I'm not sure, but I think I had, maybe like one not good month at all, which, if you have a bad month, it's tough to recover from. But, I felt like I played pretty solid the last 2 months, and, just going to try to, build on that and take that into next year.
Your son's name's Luca, right?
Lucas.
Oh, Lucas.
Wait, what's he eating? That's what I want to know.
Crispix,
right? Yeah. AJ, he's pointing at you.
What is he eating? Yeah. I couldn't hear.
Crispix.
Ah, got it.
So
I remember those days.
How much does it help with the fam, like having Lucas and company, where you're just like, all right, whatever, like I'm going to bounce back, and I got other things to worry about too right now in the off season?
Yeah. It's great. I had the family out there this last year. Coming home to him has been awesome. And, he's starting to get to that age where, I walk in the house and nothing else matters. Dad's home, which is, extremely exciting. I walk in and he goes, Dad, just wants to hang out with me. So definitely makes it a little easier. And, it's pretty cool. Actually, on the golf course, he kind of lightened it up for me because, I was over some putts and I heard him laugh, or I heard him, say something, and, just helped me relax a little bit out there and, think about him, and makes everything easier.
Did you have to watch yourself on the golf course, especially if Lucas was around? Because we have a fan question from Mike saying, do you curse on the golf course like you do sometimes if you're making out on the field, or are there two different Jeffs?
You can even ask my teammates on this one. I'm two completely different people on the golf course and the baseball field. The golf course is my getaway, especially I have fun. I have some drinks, and definitely not as fiery out there. I used to be kind of that same guy, especially when I was playing a lot of competitive golf in high school, and get really frustrated. And it's tough when I was playing in high school and you want to play at the next level and things aren't going right. Yeah, it is tough, but no, I definitely have fun out on the golf course. Definitely a little bit more easy going, and it works for me out there.
He's crushing it right now too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to the Mets.
And he's well behaved too.
he
Look at that
is.
guy.
He is. Sometimes the kids are freaking, or they press the red button to end the call. That's good.
Jeff, do the Mets allow kids in the clubhouse?
Oh yeah, they're pretty good about that. So they're always running around. Up until I think batting practice. So they're pretty good there.
They
He's
don't
yet
let
to
them,
be
they don't
never really
they
old
don't let
enough.
kids on the field, right? For BP, or do they?
I'm not sure. I think they do. I mean, I know we had some kids shag out there. Yeah, like D-Rob's kids last year, they were out there shagging. Yeah, so they're out on the field.
Okay, yeah, because that was one of my favorite memories. When my son was old enough to, I played long enough, fortunately, to where my son was able to come out with me. And I remember I knew it was my last game, and so my last BP, it was against the Mets, and he was shagging in left field. And I made sure the last ball I hit to him so he could catch it, and that was when I walked off. He caught it, and then I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I play long enough to where he gets to experience all that, go in the clubhouse, shag, take some hacks in the cage as well.
Jeff, question for you. Your buddy Pete obviously has been talked about a ton this offseason. We're going to bring him back on soon, and he's not going to go over it too much in depth, which is understandable. But you went through an extension process with the Mets, which is great, right? And you're happy to be a Met now for a long time. What advice would you have for Pete going through that process? It doesn't have to be like, hey, negotiate this way, but even just like how to get through a process like that and come out on the other side and be happy, because obviously it worked out in many ways.
Yeah, I think it's just, wait. That's kind of what I did. The team came to me. Mine was during arbitration. We didn't come to an agreement, and then, they came to us a few days later. We want to, work something out, and we don't want to go to arbitration. Let's do this kind of deal. So, mine wasn't too bad. Mine took, a week or two. So, but, I know he wants to, be a Met. We all want him to be a Met as well. And, I know he loves New York. So, hopefully we can keep him long term. And, I don't want to see him play anywhere else. I want to see him, be my teammate for a long time.
I'm the same way, dude. I just feel like he is synonymous with the Mets. Also, he just fits so well there. He's unique. He's funny. He's always a great soundbite. You got the LFGM going. All right, so do you have one? I got one more.
I was just gonna say, remember we had those talks, dude, back in the day. Hey, man, when is it gonna be? My time. What's gonna happen? All this stuff. I told you it's gonna come. Just let it happen, brother. You did great. That's good.
Everything will.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I got one more for you. Some of the fans in the chat asking if you're enjoying the car. So I didn't realize how long it took. So you had, if you want to just rehash real quick what happened with Lindor, I think it was a couple years ago at this point, and then you got it in November. So after this past season, and what was the quote from, I think Lindor said, I hope he gives me a ride in spring training with it or something like that. So what's the update there and kind of the timeline of what happened?
Oh, yeah. I think we were in Philly, and I was complaining in the locker room. And it was something about like the All-Star game and winning a car or something like that. And I just remember him going like, hey, you win a batting title, get you a car. So I'm like, all right, no problem. And, some of the media heard it as well. So, that's kind of when it, became big, and ended up winning the batting title in 2022. So, was just waiting on that car. It was something I never really, brought up to him. I just kind of let it happen. It took a little bit, but ended up with a Ford Bronco, pretty cool little cruiser around town. So, just happy to get something and, enjoying it.
By the way, Jeff, before we let you go, I love your little humble brag with your Pine Valley sweatshirt. So, sorry about it.
My buddy got it for me, and it's really comfortable. It's Travis Maggi sweatshirt. I enjoy wearing it. It's comfortable, but never played it. I really want to, obviously. I think everyone wants to play that course, one of the best in the world. But, I just enjoy a sweatshirt and wear it around the house.
I like it, dude. Well, maybe...
Love to get out there, please. Thank you.
Yeah, AJ.
I'm not playing with you. You're too good, dude. You embarrass me. I got a guy though that will play with you. It's a member there. He's like a +5.
Man, you gotta get me
play
stroked.
with you.
Yeah,
No, he'll play with you. He'll play with you. He's about the same level as you.
AJ's
All right.
trying to make money. You haven't noticed that yet. He wants to win money. You don't care.
Little side bet. All right, well, we'll work on it. Jeff, awesome having you back on. Good to see you. Enjoy the rest of the offseason. And again, congratulations on the big dub, man. Representing the current players. Good stuff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Cheers. Okay, talk soon. Jeff McNeil with us on FT Live, and we'll see him in spring training over in Port St. Lucie with those Metropolitans. The Flying Squirrel. Yeah, what a dub. It's a good point, though, AJ. He defeated many former players who, sure, are older, but technically also have more time on their hands to play on a more consistent basis. No?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen, he beat Mulder, Marty Fish. He beat Annika Sorenstam, who's considered the greatest women's golfer of all time, right? I mean, he beat Smoltz, who's won a bunch of these. Mulder's won a bunch of these. Marty Fish, who's a tennis player, has won a bunch of these. Derek Lowe, who's won this event 2 years ago. I mean, he represented well. And, you know, Witt, the three current players, Witt, him, and Aaron Hicks, I mean, they all finished, I think, in the top 12 of the tournament. So all three of those guys, and they're also, I don't know if this is true or not, but Aaron Hicks used to play in this event a few years ago, and the Yankees told him he had to stop because they thought that's why he was getting injured. I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a rumor about that they told him he had to stop playing golf.
Wow. Well, if only we could bring him on to get some confirmation on that one. I believe it. I think there's.
I mean, I don't know. People are
are
saying that, and again, I just heard that, but it was like, wow, that's interesting that they would think in the offseason that he's playing golf would affect his regular season baseball, but I don't know.
You're not buying it, right?
No. There was guys that would struggle, and the hitting coach would be, hey, man, go golf, go. Come back, and all of a sudden they got their swing back. I don't know. People always talk about correlation with home run derby, and that ruins your swing. I never believed in it. I mean, I think it made you exhausted, to get going. But other than that, you're a professional, dude. We take it last round or two. You're trying to hit a home run anyway. So, no chance.
Also, I mean, I'm not a golfer, but is golf strenuous?
Shouldn't be.
It's a lot on your. I mean, it's a lot on your.
You might get a couple scabs on the hand.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot on your core, though. I mean, I think Hicks had some oblique injuries, some back problems, so maybe that's what they were thinking. I don't know. I mean, listen, Todd was talking about it. I remember when I was playing, when I was with the White Sox hitting coach would be like, "Hey, go play golf on the off day. Go hit some balls because it helps you with your finish, like the way you finish."
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, listen, I was a big believer when I first was coming up that golf hurt my baseball swing, but the more I thought about it, actually helped me because it's the same swing. It's just on a different plane, right? You swing more horizontal on baseball and more vertical in golf. And, the hitting coaches went out, Mike Gellinger and Greg Walker were like, go play golf on the off day, please.
Yeah, I like that. Makes sense to me. And by the way, before we move on, some people in the chat were like, yo, Lucas was a star just now.
Unbelievable. The kid
Dude didn't interrupt.
Didn't say a word.
I was pointing out. Yeah, he was great. I mean, he's just crushing food. That's the dream right there.
That's the goal. He had his snacks.
Yeah. Snacks are the key to life.
Get them yums.
Before we talk to Ryan Spilborghs about the Colorado Rockies, let's go over our thoughts on the Rockies, thanks to BetMGM's World Series odds. So we look back at last year while we also turn it forward to 2024. Currently, if you think the Rockies are going to win the World Series, if you place $100 down, you would win $50,000 at the end of the World Series. That is how confident odds makers are that they are not going to win the World Series. Now, that is worse than last year's plus 30,000 entering the season. By July, which we already kind of knew at that point, the Rockies were, in fact, not good. Sometimes they have hot starts. I don't even remember them having too much of a hot start this past season. Plus 100,000 by July 10th. And, of course, they didn't make the playoffs. So as of the week of July 10th, the Rockies were already in last place in the West. They were at 34-57. And obviously the Dodgers were running away with the division at that point, but they were also way behind in the wild card race. So plus 50,000 for the Rockies to win the World Series. Do I have any takers? And that includes all you in the chat that we are chatting with right now as well. Any takers for some money down for the Rockies? Anyone? Going once? Going twice? No? How about anybody for the Rockies to be in playoff contention this year? Anyone? No? Okay. What's been your favorite move, guys, of the offseason for the Rockies? I mean,
You tell me.
little Cal Quantrill action,
I guess
perhaps.
so.
Todd
I
Helton
mean,
going to the Hall of Fame.
That's a good one. That is
was
a good
great
one.
move.
So you know what stands out to me, AJ? So I was reading Britt Giroli's article this morning in The Athletic about the Red Sox, and the one comment that I actually missed, and she pointed out from Tom Werner saying, people go to Fenway for other reasons. I'm paraphrasing, like besides just seeing a winning product, because Fenway is a location to go to. I actually thought about the Rockies in that conversation too. And she was saying how people were pissed off about that statement. Like, yo, let's win too. How about that? But with the Rockies, it is a premier destination in Denver for the summertime. It is a fun experience to go to a ball game in Denver. And frankly, I guess the team feels like some people don't care about the product on the field. I disagree with that and think that they would make more money if they kind of tried and put more into the ball club. But it feels like they're in a perpetual rebuild.
Yeah. And every year it seems like they get close, like when they had Arenado and some of those other guys, running around, Tulowitzki and some things happening. And they get to the postseason and they flame out, and then they just start over, right? They trade Arenado. I mean, listen, people go to Colorado Rockies games all the time. Why? The stadium's awesome. They got the Christmas tree farm out in center field. They got they got Dinger, the mascot, running around. They got a bunch of cool things. Usually a bunch of runs are scored, which obviously fans like. They also invented Blue Moon beer at the Coors Field. So, I mean, you can sit in the stands. You can watch a Triceratops run around the field, watch some home runs, and drink a Blue Moon. That sounds like a pretty darn good night in Colorado for me.
It is an awesome night, I will say. I mean,
No
I
doubt.
love that park. I love that experience. I'm with you.
And I was going to piggyback that. I've had a lot of people in the Jersey area who love baseball that live around here, and they're like, give me a place to go to. And I'm like, bro, you got to go to Colorado, man. This is unbelievable. Pittsburgh, everybody, because Pittsburgh's another beautiful scene out there. You got your two, Chicago and Wrigley Field and Fenway Park, but they go out there to Colorado and they're like, bro, you weren't messing around. This is a beautiful sight to see, and it's fun. And around the town, it's kind of built up a little bit too, so it's a nice area. I just wish they would kickstart again, man. It's sad for Colorado because it is a beautiful place to be and fun times there playing in the snow that first month. So that's what they're known for.
Yeah, in the chat here, Bourbon and Baseball saying Brenton Doyle will be better with his bat this season. Yeah, I mean, he's a stud athlete. It didn't hit much, but that's fine. There are some individual players to pay attention to. I agree that can continue to develop. I mean, obviously, Nolan Jones had a year.
He did.
I mean, that looked like a great pickup. Cleveland actually could use a player like that right about now. And, they missed the boat there because I think they felt like he didn't make enough contact. Well, how's a breakout rookie season at a 4-something WAR? I mean, that's a really, really successful first season from someone like Nolan Jones.
And some of the coolest skies I've ever seen have been in Colorado, like where storms are rolling in. It seemed like we always got like one rain delay.
Yeah.
The skies would turn like all these cool colors. I mean, it's a cool, plus walking from the hotel to Coors Field is one of the coolest walks because there's a bunch of bars along the way. There's a bunch of restaurants along the way. It's definitely a destination place. I wish they were a little better playing. I mean, I want them to go back to remember the Blake Street Bombers when they had Bichette and Galarraga and Walker, and they just Ellis Burks, and they just bludgeon you to death. They'd win every game like 10-9 and in Coors Field. Remember that one year? I think it was 95. They almost had the Braves beat in the playoffs. Remember when the Braves went on to win their World Series? They had them in the first round, and people were like, oh shit, the Rockies versus Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, and they kind of had them on the ropes. The Braves ended up winning, but that was a great series.
The one thing I look in here, Jacob Stallings, like I'd like to talk about, he's a good cat. He's going to help these young pitchers and all these guys throughout. I think from playing with him with Pittsburgh, seeing him and understanding, how to call a game. He did that with the Marlins and helped them out too as well. I think if we're looking at one, bright spot, I would say there you go. And I mean, listen, you'll laugh about it, but he's a veteran guy and he knows what he's doing behind the plate. So that's a guy that I would lean on if I'm a pitcher this year for them. Not saying they're going to win it all or do whatever, but he's a very good catcher.
I want to ask Ryan before we have him on, Spilly, what's the philosophy, right? Like they need to find a philosophy, especially pitching wise. Like what they need to do, and Kratz and I think talked about this one day. What's the thing that works the most? Like they need to study pitchers that do the best there and what works, because you play 81 games there, and I know you go on the road and things change, but for those 81 games, what's the pitching? Is it sinkers? Is it cutters on guys? What's the philosophy for starting pitchers, especially, and even relievers, that works the best? And then what are the Rockies doing to implement in their farm system to where they develop pitchers that throw whatever that pitching sequence, whatever you want to call it, is? Because that's the thing. I think they tried sinker ballers, they tried fly ball guys, they've tried everything there, and nothing has seemed to stick. So what is the philosophy that the Rockies have found or developed that can find pitchers that can pitch in Coors Field 81 times?
You know, AJ, we've had Dan O'Dowd on this show, who I've known for years, and it was like a puzzle that he was trying to solve. And they did temporarily solve it. I mean, they made it to the World Series the one year. Obviously, it was an exit there, but they did make it to the World Series. It's not like this team's never had success, so you can't completely blame the atmosphere and the situation there. It definitely can make it a lot more difficult, but just something to keep in mind. So we're about to bring in Spilly. So just a little look here at the BetMGM Sportsbook account holders who already have an account and can create an entry in our $1 million playoff football challenge. You got an opportunity to win a share of $1 million in bonus bets if you predict the 3 playoff football questions correctly out of the eligible users. Each entry period has 3 questions. So log into the app or hit up the website, go to the promotions tab, and then complete and submit an entry. 1 entry per customer, permitted per entry period. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay. So let's bring in Rockies broadcaster, national broadcaster, former Rocky, Ryan Spilborghs, to get into this team. And actually, I wish I could say I did this on purpose, but I'm even wearing your favorite color today, Spilly. Great to see you, dude. I haven't seen you in a minute. How you been, man?
I'm doing good. How are you? You look like you're still in shape. Are you eating?
Yeah.
Are you eating like a bird, or what are you doing over there?
I actually threw down last night, AJ and me at dinner with some of the crew here behind the scenes, and
He almost finished a 4-ounce steak, Spilly. He almost finished it.
Hey, listen. I mean, like, he's like Ned Flanders. If that shirt comes off, it's just shredded, guys. So that's awesome. I also wore my hat backwards, so I feel like I'm part of the posse. It's good.
I'm used to you having it like this with the flat brim a little to the side, you know?
Like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now we go. Okay, perfect.
There you go. Let's do it Spilly style for 15 minutes here. So Spilly, first off, I mean, I don't know how much you caught of this, but can you answer AJ's question about like what the plan is long term and where you think the plan should be to get back on the winning side of things? Because there's not really any hope right now.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny you bring it up like that, and I did listen to you. And AJ, you have a lot of things right. It is about pitching. I think a couple things that we've noticed in years past, and maybe you've heard Dan O'Dowd talk about it on MLB Network or different people within the organization. About 20 years ago, there was a presentation about how sinker ball pitchers don't have high slug percentages against them. And as a result, like this one time from a long time ago really stuck with the Colorado Rockies. So there was that time frame where you had Aaron Cook, you saw Jason Marquis, you had a bunch of guys that were considered sinker ball pitchers. Now, the problem with that, and it's true, if you have really good infield defense and if they're throwing strikes, then it works, right? Like, you're not going to have a ton of slug. It's going to be hard to put some at-bats together to score runs. And it worked for a period of time. Unfortunately, if you do look into and you guys know this, especially as catchers, sinker ball pitchers have a higher walk rate. They have a lower strikeout rate. And when they do miss up in the strike zone, the ball goes a long way. So that's a pretty bad recipe when you have those type of pitchers and they're not the elite level sinker ballers, a Derek Lowe. There's not a lot of really good sinker ball pitchers. So unfortunately for the Rockies, they were always looking for that type of guy and didn't always have it. So when the Rockies were successful, they had pitchers like German Marcus, who could still strike people out. They had John Gray, who could still strike people out. They had Kyle Freeland when he was at the top of his game. He was pitching to contact, and it was more like pop-ups. So to me, the philosophy should be, and we've noticed this too, elevated fastballs, four-seam fastballs, good ride at the top of the strike zone actually does really well at Coors Field. So to me, if you want to take a combined approach of some sinker ballers with some high spin rate guys at the top of the strike zone and then come with a different mix, that is how you get back on track in Colorado.
I love everything about what you said. The whole kind of talking about what kind of pitches need here, what needs to be thrown, what should. Now, to me, just hearing you say all that, isn't it just sometimes overkill a little bit? Why don't we just look for the right pitcher, a guy that could throw strikes and get guys out? Sometimes I think people look too far into, mechanics or what a guy can do. I get the air's thin, the ball's going to travel. Why don't you get some dogs out there, some guys that could just pitch? I think that is something that we get away from sometimes, and I think that, part of the game moving forward, that analytical part to it that we get too invested in.
You're right. I mean, Todd, if you have a pitching staff that acts as if, they walk around and they control the mound, even if they don't have the greatest stuff, it works. The best teams in baseball right now are consistently throwing strikes. So the Seattle Mariners lead baseball in strikes in the strike zone. The Rockies last year were at the bottom of it. Velocity also matters. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Last year, the Rockies were at the bottom of baseball in overall velocity from a rotation. So when you're not throwing strikes and you're not throwing as hard as everybody, not a great combination. But you're right, that additional element, which is don't give a rat's ass about what you're doing. I'm going to go out there and compete. That's needed. And not everybody has that. I mean, there's plenty of examples of guys that have come from that visit from other organizations. They're like, dude, I can't pitch here. This place sucks. And it does. I mean, that's the reality of it. Sometimes it does suck. Sometimes it's fine. But the guys that have embraced it, Kyle Freeland, Chad Bettis, there's another player from back in the day that they embrace it. Pedro Estacio, Petey, is one of the all-time, winners in Rockies franchise history, and he had almost a 5 ERA. It's because he was just trying to beat the other guy on the other side. So you're right about that. I mean, that's hard to find, hard to factor all the time when you're trying to say, because I think everybody wants to compete, but until you get in that environment, that's where you have to start sorting people out.
Hey, don't forget Ubaldo too. Ubaldo was pretty darn good. He didn't care where.
Through 100 though.
Well, true. I mean, those guys are a dime a dozen though now, Spilly. Everyone throws 100 now. What's 100? That doesn't mean anything anymore. All right, so I would say this when we used to go to Coors Field, you had to make a choice. Either the outfielders played shallow, you took the bloops away, or you moved them back and you tried to take the gap shots away. I always wanted my outfielders to play in catching because I thought the bloops hurt you more than the home runs because most times the ball went over your head at Coors Field. It was a home run anyways. What's your opinion on that?
AJ, you're speaking the right language. Play shallow. We have seen the Dodgers for the last couple of years. They play the shallowest outfield at Coors Field. They also have a pitching staff that throws strikes. But it's what happens to the pitchers when they make a good pitch, right? Like you jam somebody, you get somebody out on their front foot and they just kind of flick one in the outfield. You want those to be outs. You don't want that to fall in for a hit because it's deflating. You much rather somebody steps on one of your pitches because you made a bad pitch and you're like, dude, if he makes the catch, awesome. If he doesn't, that's on me. So I'm with you. I think we have also seen some of the athletes in the last 2 years, like Nolan Jones, super underappreciated freak athlete. And then Brenton Doyle, who's been in center field, who won a Gold Glove last year. That's the best center fielder Coors Field has ever had. Plays a shallow center field. And so I'm with you. You play shallow. You trust your skill set. If somebody hits it over your head, it gets hit over your head, but you cannot let the ball fall in front of you.
So convince us how this team can, avoid the 100 loss mark again. Obviously, being in a division that's freaking good and got better so far this offseason. And they've done a few things. We went over it, but not a lot, right? To make a huge dent, especially on offense when that was the thing. The lineup wasn't there last year. So, what has to happen? Like a Chris Bryant resurrection? What do you think?
I mean, I feel like we're still a little ways away from them being in striking territory to get to the postseason. I mean, a lot of things need to go right, Scott. I mean, that's the problem here. Is will Chris Bryant be healthy for a full season? I think so. I think he's in good shape. He's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be carrying the offense. Some of the young players, like a Nolan Jones, is going to get a full season. He's really exciting. Tovar's taking a step forward. Getting Brendan Rodgers healthy is important. I mean, a bunch of this is like you need this to happen, and then this to happen, and then this and this and this and this. It's a really difficult division. I still see a little bit of a transition here from, eventually Charlie Blackmon's going to move on. Elias Diaz is at now 35, the catcher. I think we're going to have to start seeing some new pitchers too. Senzatella, Herman, Kyle Freeland. Unfortunately for some of those guys, Herman is coming back from Tommy John, and Senzatella and Freeland are still in the middle of their contracts. So they need a bunch of things to work out. The minor league system is actually pretty robust right now. So depending on if the Rockies are willing to make some trades, which that hasn't been proven in the past, they have a ways to go.
All right, so let's get back to some good news here. Todd Helton, Hall of Famer. I saw the video. We all saw the video, the excitement. He's such a great guy, well-deserved, one of the best to ever do it, especially in a Rocky uniform, man. Talk a little bit about Todd and the impact he's had over a lot of people and the impact in Major League Baseball.
Well, I don't think you would appreciate this Todd. For you, the Todd father. I mean, this was the original Todd father for me. Yep. He also hit with 2 strikes better than anybody I've ever seen. When you think about flat baseball approach, Todd was unbelievable. He was taught at a young age. He had incredible bat-to-ball skills. He was an incredible athlete, played football in front of Peyton Manning at the University of Tennessee. He was at Golden Spikes. He pitched. He was basically Ohtani before Ohtani. I think in the case of Todd, when it's all said and done, in the part where, people have always kind of pooped on Coors Field, like, oh, what an easy place to hit. It's rare that people talk about the physical toll it takes on your body. So he didn't get to 3,000 hits. Who cares? His OPS numbers, OPS on the road, he was better than Dave Winfield, better than Tony Gwynn, better than Vlad Guerrero. And that was coming from altitude down to sea level, where the ball does move different. And Todd never skipped a beat. And you're in the National League West. So I love that he's represented now. I think it's really cool, too, when you have a player that played for one organization, start to finish, and then be that good and get the recognition. It means a lot to me as a former teammate. I know it means a lot to the organization to see this. It means a lot to Todd and Christy and his daughters, Gentry Grace and Tierney Faith. Like, it's a big deal for Todd to get into the Hall of Fame. And beyond that, I love the fact, and AJ, you could probably speak to this, when somebody has a 2-strike approach, that's the difference. That's the separator that takes, boys to men. And Todd was a 260 career hitter with 2 strikes. 260. So that's the part where I think when it's all said and done, he's one of the all-time greatest hitters with 2 strikes. And that's the reason why I think I'm so happy to see him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I thought he should have been in a long time ago, but that's just – and also, Spilly, I'm so old that I was going to go to the University of Tennessee, and I would have been Helton's teammate. And I went on my recruiting visit the same weekend Peyton Manning was there. So that's how old I am when it comes to knowing Todd Helton for almost 30 years now. So I'm very happy for him, and congratulations, obviously, to Todd. But does Todd ever talked about his last at bat? We just showed it in that highlight pack, or his last home run, excuse me, where Jake Peavy just grooved him that home run. Did he know that was coming?
Did not know it was coming. I wasn't there. I was in Japan at the time. It was like 10:30 in the morning because of the time difference. I was a puddle watching that with the home run. I mean, also, there's a lot of battles between Jake and Todd over the years, especially in the National League West, but especially when Jake was a Cy Young. So that respect. And I mean, like, if you've ever been around Jake, you love Peeve. He didn't. I don't think he grooved him one, but he challenged him with one, and Todd did miss, which you guys know more than anything. That's not easy to do with the pressure of having everybody there with you for the last day. That's a really special moment. And I mean, like, if you don't love Jake Peavy already, to go and say, here's one, good luck hitting it. I mean, that's tip the cap with the flat brim to Peeve.
Yeah, that was an awesome moment. By the way, can you point over your right shoulder? I think it's your right shoulder. Whatever, I don't know. TV sometimes the other one, so your left shoulder. How many of those trophies you got up there?
Oh, these Emmys?
Yeah, those
I got them at a garage sale. Yeah. I only have 5 of them, but I got them at a garage sale.
Oh, only 5. Okay.
Sweet back there.
Wow,
Ah.
Spilly, world's greatest Emmy collector at garage sales.
He's
You're a
got
legend.
Rosie,
Yeah.
you got
It's
Rosie
weird. You
Red
walk
in
into
there,
garage
too.
sales, they're just there, and you just
Oh,
happen to be
hey,
there.
Todd. Yeah, you saw I got Rosie the Red back there. That's a real thing. She's my number one. I mean, if my wife is ever slipping, that's who you'll find me with is
Yeah.
Rosie the Red
Epic.
She's a beauty, brother. I've seen her too
Epic.
many times. She's a beauty.
for sure.
Well,
Her
Spilly,
eyes, it gets me all the time.
thanks. Epic behind the scenes there. Thanks for joining us, dude. I know you got your show on series coming up right now, and obviously can hear you on Rockies TV, Apple, the whole deal over the past year. Love what you do, and good to see you, man. Appreciate you.
It's great to see you too. Get an 8-ounce steak next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna get.
I
14
can't
or
eat it all,
16.
Philly.
Appreciate
It's too
you, man.
much.
Dude. I think mine was like 16 ounces.
Dude,
last
you
night.
ate like a quarter of it, and then you ate all the strawberry shortcake.
He's just full of shit.
I don't
Full
know.
of it.
I
Do you think I can eat strawberry
No,
shortcake?
I think you crushed the steak.
Todd Father has seen
I've
me
seen him eat
have a
steak.
night.
I've seen him get after some steak.
We had a steak dinner, and Todd's like, "Okay, this guy can eat." Yeah,
Yeah, he
Steak
one of
and
those.
sushi.
He put the napkin on the neck. He's like, I'm getting that. No, he could crush.
Yeah.
He could crush.
and by the way, for Spilly, at SpillyGoat19 is the Twitter account name if you want to check
All
him
right, I
out.
can fix
too,
my
and
hat
we'll
now.
post some clips. Yeah, we can go back to AJ from Spilly mode. Okay, so let's do some spreading rumors while we have a moment, and then we're going to talk to one of the top draft prospects too, coming up in a little bit, PJ Morlando. So let's start with Kenny Ballgame, who we'll talk to again either tomorrow or early next week. But Rosenthal in today's edition of The Athletic said that the Royals have a desire to add one more piece and that they are looking into a closer. So I'll take a few snippets from what he wrote. They've already picked up guys like Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha. They've spent a little over $100 million on free agents. And he said they're open to adding a closer. So they had Aroldis Chapman at the beginning of last year. He was great for them. They traded him. They picked up Cole Reagans, who is probably their best starting pitcher. So that was a freaking awesome deal. And then Ken started going over what the options could look like in the trade market, in addition to what they have, who is a World Series champ year after year. Will Smith is their closer on a 1-year, $5 million contract, but they're looking to see if they can add someone else. Exactly. I don't know if that necessarily means championship, but Ken talked about Kenley Jansen, probably too expensive for them. Devin Williams, Brewers obviously shouldn't trade him, and I don't think they will now, especially with the Rhys Hoskins signing. And then lastly, he brought up a slim chance that the Guardians would move Emmanuel Clase. So you don't necessarily know who that closer would be, but the fact that they might look to add another reliever is interesting. I also wonder, AJ, if they should just buy another reliever, because if you're going to add one and it's costing you money anyway, why don't you save the prospects? This team certainly needs to do that if they're going to be a winning ball club. That's where I would look. There are still some free agent relievers available. I don't think they're going to play in the Hector Neris world, but there's a few other names that are still out there that if I was them, I would look to before I would trade. What do you think?
Oh, I think Class A is probably off the table because he's in the division. So you can start with that. I don't know. I don't know what, I mean, I don't think there's any really closers out there that are going to move the needle enough. Will Smith he's closed out World Series before, so he knows what's happening. I don't know, man. Is a reliever what they really need? I mean, I'm still hoping they get, they maybe another starter, but I'm looking at the list right now. Hector Neris.
Yeah, but too expensive.
Liam Hendricks, he's hurt, right? Michael Fulmer, Ottavino, Ryan Stanek, Brad Hand.
David Robertson. Someone like that I think would be interesting. I mean, Maton's available, not necessarily a closer. Ryan Brazier's coming off that sick finish to the season with the Dodgers. I mean, there are some names that
Middleton had some success last year. Kenyon Middleton.
Yep. Ottavino, who we talked to the other day.
Yeah.
There's names, dude. There's names.
Therese Familia, Todd's old buddy.
What's that? Juris? Yeah, I like Juris, man. He's a beast. But listen, I want to say, why they don't need the closer? Just get another reliever in
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
just get another high leverage.
You don't have to say you need a closer because you got a couple guys that could do it already. So get a high leverage guy, and guess what? If he turns out to be a beast in an 8th or 9th inning, then you can use him. So
I mean,
yeah.
They're not getting Williams because the Brewers are all in now once they sign Hoskins. So the Brewers aren't trading anybody. They're going for it, right?
That was Kratzy's favorite day of the year when Rhys signed. He was in South Africa going, yes.
I mean, that's the perfect marriage of
Yeah.
Philly, who he likes, going over to the Brewers, who he
Because we
loves.
would talk about it all the time about Reese not getting signed.
Exactly.
Oh, he just every time we talked about a free agent, he's like, Reese Hoskins, where's he? What about Reese? I'm like, damn, dude, let's get Ohtani first.
Yeah, well, he ended up in a good spot. But I will say,
Great
for the
spot.
Royals, if you're thinking about things, I think they're evaluating the division in two ways. Number one, they've been losing for a while. And the rebuild for them has not been super fruitful, right? Like, it's not like they're loaded with prospects. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is by far the star of that farm system that now obviously graduated into being a star, if not superstar, in the major leagues. So they said, hey, let's do some adding. Let's do some spending this offseason, and let's look at the division. FT the other day said the White Sox are likely going to lose 100 games. The Twins didn't do anything, and they lost some pitching. They still should be really good, but it's not like a team that's super intimidating in my mind. Same with the Guardians. The Tigers look like they could be better, but I think at some point you look and they're like, okay, there's some starters in that rotation.
And I like that we're talking about the Royals
Me too.
doing things, and I think that's the biggest thing to take from this. We are talking about the Royals, and we're talking about them making moves. This is a huge step, man, because this is unlikely of them to do this stuff. So I love their pickups. I like their acquisitions. I like that they're still wanting to do things. They kind of slowed down a little bit. Now they're like, you know what? Almost spring training. Let me dabble here and see, what the market looks like.
I'm certainly feeling better about the Royals. If you told me they were a super surprise team and they at least were contending in the 500 range, I wouldn't think you're crazy. Where we just talked about a Rockies team that I just don't see it. That's 100 losses for me.
Agree.
So let's get to our perfect game player of the week. Big prospect. You'll see one day in the bigs, 18 years old, big dude, 6'3", 200-pounder, committed to South Carolina. His name is PJ Morlando, joining us right now on FT Live. PJ, great to have you on, man. How you doing?
Doing amazing. I appreciate you guys having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun, man. So, have you done a lot of interviews? Obviously, you're young and you've been a big prospect already for a bit, but have you gotten to do many interviews?
Yeah, I've done a fair share all the way since 12, Dixie Youth champion. So, we've been on the news with that Dixie Youth team, and I don't know, I always just felt comfortable in front of the camera. This is my first podcast this spring, so I'm excited to get after it.
So you and me have something in common, man. We got home run derby championships, you and me. So let me ask you this question: is it something that you practice for, or is it something that you just went and just dominated? I know you met Adam Jones during the whole thing. Too bad he's not on the show to talk with you, but talk to us a little bit about that home run derby and was it planned, or you just say, you know what, grip it and rip it, let's get after it?
Yeah, so my dad was deployed in Korea, and when he came back home, it was 12U season, and that Dixie Youth, we had a home run derby, and I hit 78 home runs in that home run derby. Yeah, it was pretty special. Wow. It was really cool to do that with my father. We practiced all the way up to probably 15, 16, and that's when I kind of taken off at the high school level and had my own BP thrower, so kind of drifted away from that. But, honestly, I enjoy hitting. I do it every day. I do it for hours at end, and I was just ready to go do it in front of that many people. This has always been my dream. I've always dreamed of hitting in front of that many people. And honestly, just to do it was an eye-opener and kind of showed me that I was ready for this and I belong in this type of atmosphere.
I mean, I'm kind of a little bit mad right now because he's got a picture with Adam Jones. I was at that game. He didn't get a picture with me. I coached, but he was on the other – I think you were on the other team, though.
Yeah, honestly, me and him go back. My dad was stationed with one of his buddies, and he has a son who plays baseball. He plays JUCO right now. His name is AJ Simmons, stud athlete, and we grew up together. And I guess somehow they're close, family-wise or friends-wise. Maybe went to high school, and we got in connections and saw him at the airport, and then home run derby, and we got to take a picture and kind of show it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, dude. I mean, just because I was, I'll take what's Aaron Beatty. I'll take some of those other guys that are on my team. When we played against you guys out in Seattle. I don't think you did anything. Did you do anything in that game?
Yeah, I went 1-for-1 with I think a walk and then a single and 2 stolen bases, scored twice. So
did anything, AJ? He did basically everything.
I think the score was like 2-1. I think the score literally was like 2-1.
I think I won MVP of that game, so it was pretty special.
Listen, I'm looking.
No, I remember. So PJ, I remember I was obviously there for batting practice, and we got to watch the whole thing. And I remember talking to like LaTroy Hawkins, who I played with forever. And he's like, hey, you need to see this kid hit. And he was talking about you. And then he walked into the cage, and you were the one guy when you walked into that cage at T-Mobile Park that the bat and the ball made a different sound when you hit it. You were hitting balls like legit home runs. And I think you were the only guy in BP I even saw hit like more than one home run. But when you hit, I was like, I looked at LaTroy, I'm like, all right, so you're not an awful scout as I thought you were. But so he had an idea, and he had a good eye when he saw you. He's like, hey, you need to check this dude out. So listen, props to you for winning that home run derby. And it was fun to get to watch you play for a few innings.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I love Hawkins, man. Went to Taiwan with him, and I go to war for that guy. He's a great person.
Hey, I'm looking at this video here of this, if we can show it on here, this 500-foot home run that you hit. My goodness. I mean, listen, there's home runs and then there's epic home runs. It's just one of those things where honestly, the hands came through the zone and I'm like, wow, you got the tools, man. It's something that at a young age, that's hard to find. I was raw talented. I'm sure AJ was the same way. We went out there and just tried hitting the ball as far as we can. But look at the tools here. Is there a guy you work with, or you work with your father just to get going a little bit?
Yeah, so my grandfather is a 15-year professional baseball player, 10-year big leaguer. My uncle was drafted out of high school by the Giants and played at USF, so kind of a bloodline. I always hit with my mom, and then my dad. We spent hundreds of hours in the cages, just hitting. I mean, I've ruptured that guy's shoulder, man. He's been through the ringer. It's been a special, fun time hitting the cages with my family, and this is kind of memories that I'll never be able to take back. I made some lifetime memories. I used to go out in the backyard and hit rocks with a wiffle ball bat, and it was just hand-eye coordination. And I don't know, it translates onto the field, just hitting onto the river. So
it's amazing.
Dude,
absolutely
that's cool.
Amazing. What goes in to now? You're going to go to South Carolina.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean,
yeah.
Go
I
Jets.
mean, listen,
Go Gators.
whatever. He let him.
All right.
That's
either way.
yeah.
You're committed to South Carolina. Bottom line, you guys screwed my train of thought there. That's
Oops.
okay.
Just caveat,
At the end of the day, say you do go to South Carolina, you got to go and commit, get a routine. I think the biggest thing for you, or my question for you would be, is what is your routine? How do you go about your everyday business? Because if not, you're going straight to the minor leagues, and now you're going to have to find that routine. What routine do you have every day that you go through hitting-wise that gets you going?
yeah, so I spend mostly an hour, maybe an hour and a half on the tee. I love the tee. It's a great feel system for me. I've done the same routine for about 2 years now. Every single day when I get off onto the cages, I go hit inside, stay inside the ball, and it's just helps me get through the ball and stay into the zone. I spend hours on the tee, man. It's just, I think that's my love. There's a lot of people who hate the tee, but I think it's the most underutilized tool that there is for baseball. I'm a huge drill guy, huge feel guy. There's a lot of data and there's a lot of technology into the game right now. And, I think it's really cool. I think it's a great way to kind of help yourself get ready for the game. And I just personally love the tools, man. It's a great thing to do. So, yeah.
There you go.
PJ,
I like that.
now we just talked about you being committed to South Carolina. Okay, you're listed right now as a top 10 possible draft pick. Dude, you ain't going to South Carolina. Let's go. Besides, you don't want to go to South Carolina, get your ass beat by Florida 3 years, and then
Don't
stop it.
listen to him.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
I mean,
me, Bonnie Lee, and Kingston, man. That's a tight trio right there. It's a tight trio.
all right, but is there okay? So I know it's changed now since Todd and I were drafted forever ago. But do the scouts, when they talk to you, do they say, "Hey, is there a number?" And you don't have to give us that number, but is there a number where you say, "Hey, if you give me, let's say $5 million, then I'm definitely not going to South Carolina."
There is, but as of right now, there's not really much talk about it. It's kind of just go out and do your thing, and then we'll see right after spring when decisions are going to have to be made. So yeah, right now there isn't really much of that.
Okay, because listen, one of the hardest phone calls I ever had to make in my life was I had to call. Todd went to college, but I signed out of high school. I had to call Tennessee where I was going and say, hey, Coach Delmonico, I'm signing, and then they give you "Are you sure? Because we could really use you here." So, it's a tough phone call, but you come across, at least from the times I've been around you now talking to you, as a guy that's mature enough to handle going to the minor leagues out of high school. Because honestly, I would recommend for most kids to go to college, but your maturity and from what I saw from you out there at the All-American game in Seattle, you have the tools and the makeup, I feel like, to do it.
Well, I appreciate it. Seriously, this has been my lifetime goal, my dream, and I'm not going to stop till it happens. So,
Who would you say you mimic your game after? Is there somebody that, not only do you look up to? Yeah, tell me who you loved as a youngster. Well, you're still young, but who's the guy you look up to, and who you think the way you play the game mimics?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of comparisons within Josh Hamilton, but I really
right.
see myself with Bryce Harper. Like I love the way that he plays the game. I love the way that he comes through in the atmosphere, and I mean he's just clutch, man. He's unreal player to watch. If there's any young players watching this right now, go watch Bryce Harper. The way that he carries himself on and off the field. I mean that guy's just a competitor. He's a warrior, and I promise you that if one of his teammates was going through it, man, he'd go to war for that guy. And so, I just love watching him play and trying to translate that in my game.
That's cool. Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, but when Bryce first got to the league, he had so much hype around him, right? And obviously he's lived up to it if you look at his overall performance back at the baseball card, the whole deal, right? But when he first entered the league, it was tough for him because he was hyped up. Some people were like, he's overrated. The expectations were so high. You don't have that anymore. So did you kind of follow his career arc and how he's changed his persona and how, people think of him as a ball player? Because there used to be a lot of people who were like, oh, I don't like him. He's overrated. You don't hear that as much anymore. Now,
No.
I didn't agree with it. But then now all you hear is like, this dude carries himself. He's devoted to Philly. What do you think about the way that he's perceived?
Man, I'm gonna be real. I did not like Bryce Harper in his first years. I always thought of him as like a douche. That's just the way I saw him. But I mean, growing up and playing now, I see that you kind of have to have that in you. You got to have that dog in you to compete. So now looking at it, you have to have it, and he has it. So
listen, that kind of goes with me. When my grandparents would play Frank Sinatra in the house, I hated it, and then that was the song I came out to when I played for the rest of my career.
You embraced it.
It's like a fine wine, brother. You'll know that when you get old. It takes a little time.
Hey,
Yeah. I think a lot of people have changed their opinion on Bryce, though, from when he came up. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You can change people's minds. Nice to see that people get an opportunity to do that.
absolutely.
All right. So last year, you're kind of the darling this year of Perfect Game, right? You're Mr. Perfect Game. Okay. Last year was Max Clark. So who's the bigger star and who's going to have a better career?
Oh my goodness. Well, I love Max. We spent plenty of hours playing Fortnite together and talking some game. We kind of have a close friend base. When he played for the Indiana Bulls, I was friends with all of his close friends. So kind of just wind up talking to each other. I loved him and Walker Jenkins, man. I love it. And honestly, what I see it as is like me and Connor Griffin, and it's the same as Walker and Max, man. I feel like we're on and off the field. We're just good people, and we just enjoy the game. We play it for fun, and, we're kind of decent at it. So, yeah.
AJ, do you love his last name?
I mean, if you took the end off, it'd be better.
PJ, you're talking to the mayor of Orlando right now.
We're from Clearwater, so we figured, but when we say it, when we spell it, it's Orlando, and then you just put an M in front of it because there's no E, and everybody wants to put an E in front of it. So
I like it. I like it. Yeah, just you know what you should tell your parents? Just chop the M off. It'd be better.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna legally change our name, Orlando. It's perfect.
I mean,
Scott, you're an Orlando resident now, so stop it. Stop it.
I
with
like
your
Orlando. I'm
hate.
just saying I'm not the mayor. I'm the opposite of the mayor. You're the mayor, and also AJ's been kind of like publicly petitioning to get a ball club there, which I don't think he's going to be successful with, but he's trying.
worth a shot. I mean, I grew up
Thank
a
you.
Rays fan, so I mean, go move in Tropicana, man. That's a beautiful place. I love Tropicana.
No,
Dude, you're lying.
no,
Now
you
you
don't.
see. I take everything nice I said about you because now you're just lying. That place sucks.
I swear, I love Tropicana.
Why? For what? The
Because
atmosphere?
he can hit it out. He can hit it through that place.
Polish Joey. I don't know. Hey, I like Bryce Harper, man. He is 16U or 18U, whatever. He hit that nuke off the scoreboard. I don't know. I've always wanted to go try it. I mean, that seems fun, like competition.
Yeah, but as a fan, like so you're a Rays fan growing up. Did you went to a lot of Rays games?
Oh, hundreds.
Wow.
Well,
And you thought the fan experience was good compared to other ballparks?
Well, have you ever heard of a Rays fan? They're pretty rare. It's like we're extinct.
I know. Oh, I know. But that's why it's not very full. Obviously, that park in general, I mean, that's the worst park I've been to. I think there's 2 or 3 parks I haven't been to out of the 30.
Seriously?
That's the worst one I've been to.
You haven't been to all the parks?
No.
Come on, man.
Seriously?
Are you guys
you've been
serious?
working in this MLB industry for how long now?
Yeah. Do you know why? Because I would do a game of the week real quick. I'd do a game of the week and playoff coverage. And when I started doing that, it was right after the Pirates were good. I haven't been to Pittsburgh yet. That's one.
Wow, you got to get there.
And I know that's not the worst,
No.
so I can talk shit about the Rays. I live nearby there. I mean, dude, you got to be pumped, though, that they're trying to get a new ballpark together, though. It's going to be better than the experience you had as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the best thing was there was never a missed game. There was never a missed game. I mean, I would go out to my Little League practices and it would be canceled in 30 minutes because the rain just comes out of nowhere. You know, I think they did a good job. I think there's some history in there, and I don't know. I just loved watching Sam Fold and Evan Longoria do their thing in there.
Oh my gosh!
No, hey, listen,
Sam,
I'm
you just
not
dropped
gonna-
a Sam. You want to play for the Phillies? Super Sam Fold.
He dropped the Sam
love
Fold.
Sam.
Next thing you know, he'll be
listen.
like, "Man, I love Jason Tyner and Toby Hall."
Hey, I'm not mad at him. Not mad. Hey, listen, he likes who he likes. You can't complain. I got one more
Wait, no,
question.
hold up. How many?
Go ahead,
I want to know
go
if he's
ahead.
been to more stadiums than Scott. How many stadiums have you been to?
Not that many, maybe 5 or 6, but I played in 3 of them. So
Are you guys seriously giving me shit that
Yeah,
I've been to like
I'm-
27 or
I'm-
28
I'm
ballparks?
I'm so confused right
Why
now.
are you confused about that?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, I
after
wasn't
the
a
show.
major league player. I work in television. I do games. We don't get to go to every ballpark for every game. Think about it.
I think I've got 3 that I haven't done a game in. Cincinnati, Oakland, and Arizona. I haven't done games in. So
Okay, so
I
you're
understand.
basically the same as me
hey,
as a
that's-
broadcaster.
And you've only been doing it for how many years, AJ?
this will be my 8th year. So
Damn,
and
I
I'm
thought
like
you were only
12.
like 3 years in, dude.
No,
That's
dude,
terrible.
no,
you
dude,
just-
I've been doing this for a while, bro.
PJ,
He looks like a young pup.
last question
sir.
for me, dog, because everybody asks this. We talk about it all the time. It brings up topic. Do you believe in playing other sports? You know, getting your body in different positions. Or have you played other sports? Do you play other sports? And you know, are you not just a full-time baseball player? Because I think, in my opinion, I'm raising my kids, and my dad did the same thing. Play basketball, play soccer, play football, whatever it is. Do you play other sports?
I played basketball all the way up to 8th grade year. I committed to Mississippi State my 8th grade year, and so I was kind of like, I got to focus on baseball. I'll go play pickup, man. I got a video right now of last week where I went out to the courts and dunked and was shooting some threes. So, I mean, I still love it, man. I think basketball's a great sport, great for endurance and just strengthening your shot. So, I mean, you know, I preach it. I preach it. When I have a son, he's going to try to play 3. My mom wouldn't let me play football, but I might let my son do it a little bit.
Wait, so did you have to call Mississippi State and be like, hey, unfortunately, I'm really, really freaking good at baseball, so I'm not going to go to you for basketball. Todd Father got some basketball asks.
Listen, you were going to Mississippi State for basketball after 8th grade?
No. Baseball.
Whoa,
all right,
you decommitted from
oh.
cheese? You decommitted from cheese?
Jeez, who the hell is he talking about?
PJ
No,
knows who cheese is, dude. Ask him.
I love cheese. I love
See?
cheese. I love Limones.
I love
everything.
cheese too.
I don't.
Foxhall, man. Foxhall was my big recruiter. Kind of a family guy, tight knit, and when he got released, man, we just had to kind of sit back and kind of relive the roller coaster a little bit and just see what the best option was. And my mom said at the beginning that South Carolina was probably the first choice, and I mean, moms know best, so I had to sit back and reconsider. And
That's
South
right.
Carolina, when Monty Lee was added to that roster, it's the right fit for me. With that
There
fan
you
base,
go.
man, I'm excited.
I like
Dude,
it.
I'm
Hey,
texting cheese right now.
Yo, don't text
Go for
cheese.
it.
Text
Yeah,
mozzarella cheese.
text
first.
cheese.
Tell him I love him.
yeah. Tell him that PJ loves him and Scott's allergic to dairy, so he doesn't like him. PJ, you got the PG hat on, the perfect game hat. So how's your experience been there? Who, have you made friends with? Obviously, you mentioned some of the dudes that you made friends with, but can you kind of give us some insight on your experiences there? And also the fact that if you play against top level competition, in my mind, the biggest separator is, of course, that if you play against competition like that, when you then get to start climbing levels, right? College maybe, but minors, etc., to get up to the bigs. You're playing against guys that you've already played against. It ups the level of competition compared to just like local and travel ball, right?
Absolutely. I started playing PG at 14. I went out to a showcase and I got invited to the Canes National, and that was just awesome. Opened up so many opportunities for me. Going into my last year of travel ball, it was with Coach Petty, and I basically got a minor league experience going out to practice before games and having to wake up and eat. And honestly, you learn failure at such an early age. So, I mean, I think looking to the future is we've experienced it all already. Some of us are more prepared than the others, but it's such an awesome opportunity just to go out there and play against some of the peers that are just the top in the country and honestly top in the world. I mean, we faced so many guys from the Dominican and got to experience different pitchers, different arms, and that led us to Team USA. And, I got to experience a different country for a month and play against some of the top level in the world. So, yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been such a fun journey, and I couldn't thank PG enough. I mean, just everything that's done for me and my family, and I'm just so glad we got to experience it together.
All right, so Todd hasn't lived this yet, but he will. He's got young kids to hopefully make it. Can you explain Jupiter, Perfect Game Jupiter, and what it's like, especially in the fall, and how many golf carts there are, and how many scouts and colleges are there? I mean, I went for the first time with my son this year, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I went there. I think this year was my third year, and that first year I went 0 for 3 that first day with 3 Ks against a Duke commit. And the hardest thing is to keep your composure. I mean, this is, like I said, I was probably 15 with 300 golf carts sitting behind my game, 200 being college and 100 being pro scouts. Like it's tough. But again, like that's what I'm saying. It prepares you for the future. I mean, that just showed us how to kind of compose your anger and just put it into the game. Like, don't let it affect your game. Now going over the years, like Jupiter just doesn't affect me. Like after looking at it, it's fun. All the scouts are just robots. They're just there. There's different ways to portray the scouts. So it's been pretty cool to kind of experience it all.
No, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. By the way, Cheese just texted me back, said he hasn't slept since you decode from him. So he appreciates that he's lost more hair, and it's a lot grayer because you decode to him and went to his rival in South Carolina.
I love that guy, man. Sorry, Cheese. I love you.
Did you? By the way, speaking of Cheese, did you see him at Jupiter this year? They had like a bright green cart because they forgot to order golf carts. So everyone at WWBA, which is the biggest perfect game thing in the world in Jupiter, everyone rents golf carts. Schools. I mean, there's like 500 golf carts around, just driving around, and all of a sudden, Cheese, he pulls up in this bright green golf cart. And I'm like, Cheese, what? I'm like, what the hell? And he goes, dude, we forgot to order golf carts. We had to get it secondhand. And it was like jacked up. And I'm like, it's the most perfect golf cart for you to be riding around in. It was unbelievable.
That is such a Cheese thing to do, man.
That's so Cheese.
This is going to be the word of the week here, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, I want to finish with this for you, PJ. I can ask these two guys, actually, any advice for him in terms of interviews? Because I will say, dude, you're awesome. You should continue this. Don't rise up and start doing we're taking it one game at a time. I'm just focusing on blah, blah, blah. I mean, obviously sometimes if it's like a place that only wants you to say that, that's fine. But still be yourself, right? And that's all I'll say because I didn't play. But what do you guys got for him?
No, I think what he's doing now is solid. He's being himself, smiling, enjoying the moment. And don't let anything get too big. You can always revert back to the team if you get stuck. Hey, listen, team's doing well, blah, blah, blah. But you know what you're doing, bro. You're a natural, man. And then we wish you well, bro. I can't wait to watch you playing in the big leagues and say I talked to you before. And, maybe we'll get his baseball card and send it out. You could sign it for our kids. That'd be great, brother.
Man, thank you so much.
You got it.
Appreciate that.
AJ?
I mean, just keep doing what he's doing right here. I mean, listen to him talk. I mean, keep working like you talk about and just be yourself. Like when people ask questions, give them honest answers. Now, there are times where you can't give them all the answers, like the complete truth, but at least give them enough to where they can go write their story and they'll leave you alone. But yeah, just stay the way you've been because this has been a fun interview and I'm happy for you. And, you ain't making South Carolina, in my opinion.
Hey.
That's going to show up on Twitter.
Listen, it It would take you to not get a hit all spring, and you still probably wouldn't make South Carolina. So I'm just saying.
Hey, money's got to be right. I'll just say that because he won't. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I think if you're in the top 10, Scott, the money's usually right.
That's true.
top 100 now. The money's usually right. So
True.
yeah.
True.
Good luck, bro. Tear it up, man.
I couldn't thank you guys enough, man. This has been really fun, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's pretty much an honor, man. This is awesome.
Hey, it was really great having you. One of the best interviews we've had for this. So thanks again, man. Congrats on Perfect Game Player of the Week, too, and being highlighted here. And we'll see you down the road, all right?
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one.
Thanks. You too, PJ.
Thank you.
And obviously, you can follow him on socials. Check out PJ Morlando. Obviously, if you're not a prospect person, this is someone that should be on your radar for the draft. Super prospect, super kid too.
That's swing. Oh
yeah.
God.
PJ Morlando 16, by the way. That's the Instagram to check out. All right, ready for That's What He Said? The star really all year of That's What He Said, when he does talk, is Oakland A's owner John Fisher. He is a real human. This just in and confirmed. He appeared and spoke and said this to the media.
We had plans to release the renderings in December, and unfortunately, with the tragedy that occurred here, we postponed that. Since then, we've been working with Bally's and GLPI, who are sort of two of our partners on the Tropicana site, to try and see if we can, instead of just releasing our renderings by themselves, be able to release our renderings along with the planned resort that is going to be on that. So that's something that we're going through, and that takes time. And so we'll release our renderings when it's the right time to do so.
That's what he looks like?
That is what he looks like. What did you think he looked like?
I didn't know what he looked like either.
I had no idea because I've never heard him say anything.
That's what he looks like, dude. And also, I will say, because I'm pretty well versed on this topic, I'm not 100%. But first of all, what he's talking about is there was a terrible tragedy. I think it was 2 police officers lost their lives in a shooting in Vegas months ago. So I will say this: I mean, awful tragedy that was at the time period. It wasn't the time to come out and do a press conference, renderings, and all of that. That was months ago, though. So now in my mind, what?
Well, no, because where they're putting the stadium is, remember the horrific thing that happened from the shooting guy?
Yes.
That's literally almost on the same plot of land. So that's what I was like, is he talking about that?
No, he's talking about that's why it's been delayed. He's saying because of that tragedy, it wasn't the right time at that week to bring that out.
Oh.
I agree. I totally
because where they're putting the stadium is literally almost on top of the awful shooting that happened a couple years back.
ago. But it's not about that. He's just saying the timing of the renderings was not okay that week because of a tragedy, right? They wanted to, obviously mourn and focus on what had happened. But that was months ago. So the fact that he's now still bringing that up as not appropriate timing is strange, right? To be like, oh, well, the tragedy that occurred, like that, it's been months. It's weird to harp on that and use that as an excuse, and then now say, oh, well, we want to release even more renderings, so that's why these renderings aren't out. He is just a walking load of shit. I can't take a word from this dude seriously. The fact that he's even swindling MLB too, because they set deadlines for him to do things and he hasn't done shit, is unreal to me. This guy is on another freaking planet, and he should stop talking.
Well, you got to hear him talk at least, because
everything he says is just take the opposite.
Well, that's what you just don't know whether to believe. You don't know what the answers are. You don't know what they're doing. You could say one thing and believe another. So I think that's the biggest problem. And like he said, I never knew what the guy looked like. So now you can put a name to a face a little bit and just see what he's got going on. But yeah, it's something totally just strange. So they have to figure something out. We don't know what the move is. He's going to just sit there and say what he wants because that's what he can. That's the problem.
It's such a shame because obviously it's a rich history of a franchise, and he just is tarnishing and ruining the brand and the name. Everything with the A's, you just expect to get messed up over a long period of time. And it is essentially all his fault. He's a terrible leader of a business.
Scott, did you see the
Yeah.
other part of his press conference?
Well, I think we have it. So
where the Las Vegas people were so excited when he stepped up there, they couldn't stop cheering.
Let's give it up one more time for Mary Beth and John Fisher, please. The Las Vegas A's. We like the sound of that, right, Vegas? Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there, Las Vegas? How we feeling? Okay.
I mean,
Oh my
that's
God.
that shows you how much they are so excited about the A's. I mean,
Oh
come on,
my
guys.
God.
Come on.
Come on, how we feeling? How we feeling?
Are we alive in the crowd, please? Someone
At least-
cheer.
Nobody booed at least, so I mean that's a plus.
right.
Nobody gives a shit. They only boo if they care.
True.
True.
Right. I mean, at least at the fan fest for the Red Sox, they're booing because they care. They're like, hey, we want a winning product.
That lady was trying, bro. That was tough.
That
That's when
is
you
tough.
just stop talking. Be like, Las Vegas A's, thank you.
Well, because people are sitting in the crowd and they're like, I'm not cheering for this guy. I mean, everyone knows his story at this point. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You are bringing a villain to a city that deserves its own freaking fresh team that is not attached to this dude. Obviously, no one wants to be attached to this dude anymore. But this is just the beginning of a nonstop script that you can't freaking write. This is a movie that we're all living out, and it's going to be an incredible sequel called Moneyball 2. But for now, this is insane. And we're just getting started. I'm telling you, there are going to be 5,000 more things that'll be botched. This is just a walking disaster until he removes himself from this franchise at some point and sells it, which he will at some point. But he's trying to obviously get everything set up so that he can kind of maximize the profits. But man, this is a mess. It's every day. Like, what would you have expected? Okay. John Fisher getting announced to talk. If I had said, how do you think the reaction is going to be? You probably would have said he's going to get his ass booed, right?
Yeah,
this is even better. No one even says anything. It's like a silent protest. Yeah.
Well, no, the funny part is normally when you have something like this, you get people in a room that are going to be excited about.
Yeah.
It's not like when they did the Vegas Commerce or whatever it was, the City Hall or City Chamber of Commerce, whatever the sign was behind them. Normally you get people, invite people that are like, okay, I'm all in for this. I mean, they couldn't even find anybody to come and just give them the old, at least a little golf clap, right? It was like, hey, is anybody even out there? Hello.
It's like those presidential debates, man. You got the people screaming in the background. Sometimes you can't even hear what they're saying. Like, let's go.
Well, also, just in general, there's rallies, protests, all kinds of things that exist in our world and even in our country where sometimes there are people that are paid to go.
Yeah.
Even there's been in the past, I think A-Rod had some of his shit going on and he paid some people that were on the street when he was like battling MLB. I'm pretty sure you can Google that and see some of the details of people they interviewed. So this stuff happened. So I'm actually, I'm not surprised. But John Fisher probably is the type of guy that would, put 100 people on the payroll to just follow him around and be like, he's the best. I can't believe he didn't think of that. So maybe he's watching and listening and he's like, hey, that's a good idea. I should start paying people to say that I'm cool.
I don't know what else to say about it.
I think we did it.
No, I think we should just be quiet.
Yeah. For the rest of the show to honor John Fisher.
Yeah.
Wow. So we'll keep an eye on that. We do have a fan question that's kind of, I was going to save for Slap Hands, but we could do it right now. And AJ, you can say, I don't really know much about the topic, but Comic Things was asking, and I think one other person was asking, AJ, thoughts on White Sox TV / play-by-play. I don't know if you know the guy, right? Did they make the announcement already? I'm trying to keep up with.
Yes, they did. They did. The White
Sox
announced him. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got to find the name. Yeah. I mean, you don't know the person personally because a couple people were asking. I was like, I'll ask him for you. Obviously, I can ask him. John Schifrin.
Schifrin? I don't know him at all.
Schifrin.
Sorry, John. We're going to have to bring
honestly,
on.
I don't know who he is. So, I mean, I hope he's great. I hope he's great at his job. I mean, listen, he's got like 3 legends to follow. He's got Harry Carey, the Hawkeroo, and then he's got Benetti, who, people really like. So I hope he's great.
Such a beast.
He is a beast.
But I mean, I hope he's great. I mean, he said, he loves Steve Stone, which is a big step to tell Steve Stone you love him. Better eat some salads though if you're hanging out with Steve Stone, because otherwise he will call you out. See Lance Lynn. But I mean, I hope he's great. I mean, I hope he fits in. I hope the fans love him. He's not a Chicago guy. He's not a White Sox guy, which a lot of times the White Sox fans kind of want. But you know what? I hope he's great. I hope he does a great job, and we'll see how it goes.
Give him the benefit. Give him the benefit.
I totally am. I want him to do great. I want him to be a great announcer.
No
you always
doubt.
want, Todd, you want your team you root for to have
Hell
great
yeah.
announcers because it makes when you listen to the game so much more fun. You
Yeah,
buy
no
in, they're
doubt.
invested.
Bro, I had that argument with a lot of people, man. If you're not like be that, I like a homer. I want the home announcer to be the homer, man. Like, oh, what the heck was that I'm doing? Like Hawk Harrelson. I mean, come
You
on.
want
man.
a homer?
I
Guys
do.
can't. It's tough though,
Oh,
guys.
all right, let's talk. All right, you don't like it. I can see.
Yeah.
You don't want a
You
homer.
want to talk? No. I hold up.
Go ahead.
I can see people that like that.
Yeah.
I can talk as a former more play-by-play type dude versus what I do now. Most of the time, they don't want you to do that. That's my
No, they
point.
don't. And
So
I
it's
don't.
tough. Like if you want a guy that's going to be like that, and he wants to give that to you and give you more of the homer kind of mentality on TV. Like a lot of the bosses, the TV execs will be like, "Don't do that.
It's true.
Play it a little more homerish, but not too much, and kind of down the middle." Also, you're nowadays see the difference with someone like Hawk was that he could love the White Sox to death, but then also criticize them. He could go all angles, right? Nowadays, most of the broadcasts, because you're under the team's watch, they're like everything has to be swell with the team at all times. Remember the Orioles dude that got in trouble?
Like,
no, I like it.
No,
I'm with you.
No, I'm with you. Like, if the guy's struggling, but hey, man, he knows he shouldn't be doing this. Like, there's a way of going about talking about your team instead of bashing them. There's guys out there that have done that. But yeah, just the excitement level a little bit. That's all.
Well, both. Okay, so here, perfect example, right? You just had your first year doing some studio at Yes, right? So obviously you're living and dying off the team at times, right? Following them, and you want to see them be successful. But then at the same time, when they're struggling, like they didn't make the playoffs this year, you weren't going on there just being like, well, everything's great. You were like, hey, we got to get this shit together, boys.
Exactly.
I watched.
You could criticize, but build up and build down. But at the same time, the finish it strong. You know what I mean? You're right. But
some of these guys, it's different. Like the Yanks are good with this, right?
Yeah.
They can go for the most part compared to most teams, right? If you're the Orioles broadcaster this past season, all you did was say the Rays have beaten us a lot in the past, and he gets freaking benched for it.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that at all.
So, anyway,
I want a homer. I'm a Todd side here. I want a homer. I want a homer for my own team.
I'm not against you.
No, but I also want him to be able to speak the truth if you're doing shitty and be like, man, this guy sucks, because you know it. I mean, listen, guys get their feelings hurt, but when you're not doing well, right, Todd? When you're not doing well.
Exactly.
And the guy's like, he's 0 for 15. Yeah, no shit, I'm 0 for 15. Try being in the batter's box. Knowing you're 0 for 14, going for that 15th at bat. I understand where I'm at. And also, by the way, Justin in the chat said he has high energy, does football and slam ball on ESPN. Now, I don't know what the hell slam ball is, but it sounds like slamming good time.
It is.
It is. It's the trampolines.
Hell
it's basketball with trampolines.
There's not many jobs that I tried to get in life. I actually tried to get that one at one point.
Announcer?
Yeah, I know the guy who started the whole league and the whole thing, and I spoke to him. I was like an OG slam ball fan. It was on Spike TV like 20 years ago, and it was freaking sick back then. I haven't seen the new version.
I saw a little bit of it. They get up so high and just slam. It's pretty fun.
I could see, what, Todd? I could see Scott being more of one of the tag announcers. The world tag announcers, Have you seen the tag where they run around the playground? I could see Scott being like, and AJ tugs Todd on the final second.
He touched him. He did.
Oh, he really got him. Let's go to the replay.
He got like just a sliver of T-shirt there as we see the nail kind of grab it. Hey, we do that in baseball sometimes, to be fair. True. Sometimes now with replay, we do that. We're like, did you see like just a little clip of jersey there that came off for 1 second off of the bag? Right?
True.
So you're right. I would actually love to. I'll say that whatever it's called, the National Tag Association. My nephew is really good at tag. So I've done some play-by-play, and I'm available. Okay, if you need a demo tape, I'll send it to you.
Quitting on us already. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But lastly, though, on the new White Sox broadcaster, congratulations to him, and also good luck, because AJ will be watching and listening basically every day.
I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah,
I can't wait to meet him and get to know him.
You guys are going to be friends. Okay. We're about to do a little slap hands action. We got a couple extra things to load up here, including something for our guy Eloy Jimenez that we're going to go through in a second. All right, so we're going to do a standing ovation to one of our regulars, Eloy Jimenez. And I forgot to ask him the other day, but I'm going to shout it out here for Eloy, friend of the show. He is named the Pitching for Baseball and Softball Ambassador MVP Award. It recognizes a donor or an ambassador within the baseball world who's made a significant contribution to PIFBS. It could be like equipment, money, awareness building, the whole deal. So shout out to Eloy, obviously making a big impact. And the one thing that stood out to me, and here you go, based out of Pennsylvania, the organization, you can see a little bit more info if you're watching right now versus on the pod.
It's awesome.
What stands out to me with Eloy is he has role models that he spoke to us about the other day. And it's important for him to do the same to youngsters, especially from his home country. So I think from what he's doing off the field, the best is yet to come, because he's a pretty happy, fun-loving guy. You know how he is, right? We've had him on a few times. So shout out to Eloy. Obviously, congratulations to him too.
And we give credit to him all the time. It's tough. It's hard to speak English too. And he comes on here and dominates the English language as well. He gets it. And this is just a little check mark for him. Great job, dude. This is something that's awesome. These kids are going to remember this forever, whatever you can give back. And for him to do that at such a young age too as well, solid job by him, and the White Sox should be very proud.
Yeah, and also props. I mean, we bring, tons of players on this show. So when they've got something cool or an honor, an award, just like we do with the 10-year service during the season, when guys hit their 10-year service, that stuff's cool. So we point it out. Obviously, we got a little extra player insight here that you don't necessarily see elsewhere. So again, congratulations to him. Really cool. I'm going to, I guess, pat myself on the back a little bit here, or really it was just a bucket list thing, because I've been giving AJ bucket list experiences now as we've been teammates on FT. So what? I took you to your first rave. You went to your first poker tournament, right? You've hit a couple things that you can now say.
Todd, I don't know if those are bucket list experiences.
They are.
It's cool to check them off. It's not like they were in the top, I don't know, 500 of things I want to do, but they made the list.
It was 198 and 197, and you had a good time there.
No, they both were great.
Had a great time at both.
Both were great. And let me say this before we get into you patting yourself on the back for doing a poker broadcast. MGM and the way they handled that whole thing, the last 24 hours was awesome. Borgata was great. The poker tournament was so fun. I got to meet so many people and check out Scott and Foul Territory, my social, to see all the things that happened. But it was a really cool experience, and I'm glad I got to do it. And Todd, you can have the next one.
I'm in, baby.
You'll like it. It was fun. It was a fun 24 hours. There's also some cool content that you'll see over the next week or so, including AJ trying to do chip tricks.
Oh, I can't.
Guys with all they flick it on one finger to the next.
How do they do that?
Yeah. So you'll see some tricks.
Dude, Todd. So Todd, when you're sitting at the table, every person is doing that. They're all doing all you hear. I'm like, oh my gosh! All you hear is the chips just clink, 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 clink. Everybody, every guy is just sitting there messing with their chips. I'm like, gosh, don't y'all get tired of that?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a nervous tick, right?
It is.
You should have picked up on. No, I'm just kidding.
It's their.
Dude, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. There was one. Okay, so one guy, Scott, Todd, I got to sit with this guy. I think his name was Joe, and he had a cowboy hat on, and he had a bandana, and he had these big ass rings on. And he goes to me, he says, he's like, "Who are he?" He sits. I sit down at the table, and there's only 3 other people at the table, and he looks at me and he goes, and we had the alley from MGM was following me, so I sit down, and he's like, "I know you," and I'm like, "No, you don't, bro." He's like, "We've played poker against each other before, haven't we?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure we haven't. Nope. I know for a fact we never have done this." And then he's sitting there and he's super loud, right? Loud, and everyone's kind of getting annoyed with him. Building. Oh, by far, right? And he's loud, not mean way, but he's just loud. And then so I get some hand, and he looks at me and he just stares at me like he's staring into my soul, and I just look at him like, and he didn't know what to do. He's like, "Oh," and then he looks at me and goes, you know, I took Phil Ivey out once.
Oh,
like,
Jesus. Here we
No,
go.
listen, Todd, best part, I go, who's Phil Ivey?
Oh,
And he goes,
no.
you don't know who Phil Ivey is? I'm like, am I supposed to? He's like, really? You don't know who Phil Ivey is? And I'm like, never heard of him. Why? Oh, you need to watch it on video. You check me out on video. And I'm like,
Great
cool,
play.
bro.
Great play.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
AJ
And then
knows who Phil Abbey is.
Yeah.
And then then they moved him, which was great. They moved him.
Well, there's two other parts that you're missing on that story. Number one, he asked you what your name is pretty early on, and then started calling you by your pseudonym.
Scott.
Yeah,
he goes, what's your name? I go, Scott. He's like, hey, Scott. And I'm like, yep.
I'm playing, and AJ's at the table next to me. So all of a sudden I hear, yo, Scott.
Oh, geez,
and I look, and I'm like, oh, great. AJ
job.
told him his name's Scott. And then also, you can't script this stuff. So AJ had multiple encounters with fans as soon as he touched down in Jersey, who all had one very unique similarity. And that included within minutes after AJ sat down at his poker table for his tournament, a guy, very nice and a pretty talented poker player, who sat next to AJ. And what was he wearing, AJ?
He was rocking the White Sox hat.
Nice.
How crazy is that? Within like a few hours,
literally right
AJ
next to
already
me.
had run into multiple White Sox
cool.
hats.
I like
Right
that.
now, what are the chances, dude, that he sits for his first ever tournament and the dude sitting next to him in Jersey is wearing a freaking White Sox hat?
We don't claim those people. Okay.
No, he was a Yankees fan. It just matched his outfit.
Yeah, he was. He was a Yanks fan. He just
My favorite.
style.
No, I got you. No, that's a
Todd-
great hat. It's a great
It's a
hat.
great
to
hat.
wear.
It's
So
great.
Todd, Scott was with me. We're walking to the tournament, and we have like an escort, and a guy has a White Sox hat on. He walks by, and I'm like, "Hey, go White Sox!" He's like, "They freaking suck, dude." And I'm like, "Well, then take the hat off, bro. Why are you wearing
Just
the
for
hat?"
look. Just for looks.
Yeah, but I'm like, "Come on, bro. No one says that in real life. Like, you can just be like, hey, yeah, cool, bro, and keep walking." But so they suck. I'm like, "Well, then take your hat off, dork."
AJ signed the dude's hat.
Nice.
Yeah,
AJ.
I wish I knew
won
that
the
guy's
nice one
name.
at-
I wish I knew his name because he helped me out a lot. He was really cool about it. He knew he looks at me and goes, "You have no idea what you're doing," and I'm like, "I have no clue what I'm doing."
Yeah, just
And he's like, "Just
play 'em.
sit there and I'll help you."
Yeah, he did
And
well.
we
though.
never, him and I never went against each other, so he was really cool. And then him and the guy, so he was on my left over here, and then the guy on my right was a guy that they grew up on the same block from each other.
Oh my
And
God.
in New York, so they knew each other, and they hadn't seen each other in like 20 years. And they were like,
Bullshit.
"No way!
They're
I
in
grew
it-
up
they're in it
in
together.
Washington. What's it, Washington Heights or something in Brooklyn?"
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, I grew up on this block." And he's like, "Me too. Oh, I own the bodega. Oh shit, I know." You know, it was pretty cool. So it was a great experience.
They were playing everybody. They were in there
Todd
together.
Father's got conspiracy theories over
They were
here.
That's
playing
fine.
everybody.
That they're
That's fine.
They do
Todd-
randomize. I will tell you, when you enter, obviously there's tons of tables, and I wanted to sit at AJ's table, but they don't let you do that because
Todd, guess what I got firsthand? Guess what I got?
Twos.
Pocket aces.
Oh.
First hand.
First
All
hand
in.
ever.
All in.
Oh, I couldn't get to it. Everyone folded because I was big.
Oh,
I was
man.
big blind, so I never even got to bet.
Oh,
Literally,
so
they're
that was
like,
a
I'm
good-
like sitting there and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, I look at it. I'm like, there's no fucking way. I got pocket aces to start, and I'm
That's
just sitting
amazing.
there, you know, like talking to Scott because he was like he was at the table next to me, and then everyone's like fold, 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 and I'm like, damn it, this was my one chance where I actually could, because I always said first hand I was going to go all in, and I was totally going to do it, and then damn it, everyone folded.
Hey, did you see? Don't show yet, AJ. You're good about seeing things, right? We talk about holidays.
Picking up on stuff?
Yeah. Did you see AJ's coffee mug today?
I didn't.
Ooh, look at the hearts on this baby. Look at him.
Oh,
Oh,
hey.
yeah. He's I think
Valentine's Day mug.
I think he's got a heart. He's got a lover side to him.
Yeah.
He's not about whatever the holidays, but when Valentine's Day comes, Mama's going to be.
No, I had a Santa Claus mug during Christmas.
True.
I had I got all kinds of mugs. I got so many mugs. It's
He's
crazy.
a mug collector. All right,
He's a
we got to
mugger.
get that foul territory mug now too.
Yeah, right,
Oh, we
Scott.
can do that. I'm on it. It's the season of love now for AJ. That's what he says.
Seasons of love.
Yeah. But yes, I will say, because AJ stole my thunder, but I did check off a bucket list item. I love watching poker when I was younger, and I watch streams sometimes, so I got to broadcast, and it was freaking fun. It was cool. And they were great. I mean, their broadcasters are first class. Oh yeah, why don't you tell everyone? So there's the crew there. It was awesome hanging with them. So Jeff and Jamie, appreciate you making me feel welcome. I had quite a few drinks before I hopped on. I was way better, so I should have been doing that my whole career. And we spent like a good amount of time. I think I was on with them for like an hour or two.
Beautiful.
Go ahead, show and tell. We have 2 new additions to the desk.
Yep. Guess who gave me these? One is Barry Bonds, one's Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, I could tell. I did Barry Bonds give you those?
No, Scott's dad.
Oh, nice.
And then today, going through security, I got stopped and they opened my bag and they're like, "What are those?" And I'm like, "Bobbleheads."
Yeah, we're gonna have to take the heads off those and check.
Yeah, they were in a box and they made me open the box and take them out. And I'm like, "They're bobbleheads."
Bro, you got screwed up at the airport, man.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Sir, what are you trying to smuggle into Florida? Bobbleheads. Is that okay?
Yeah. Once you take the head off, you're
What's in there? In my bag, Barry Bonds and Brian Urlacher.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. So 2 new additions. They look good though. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate you. All right. Well, on our way out here, tomorrow's guest list is nice. AJ Minter of the vaunted Braves bullpen. And new Boston Red Sox, Tyler O'Neill, who I love for years, super talented dude. He's had some injuries, and yes, we know he's like kind of jacked, kind of a big deal. Endless
Scott's going to be jealous.
I am, yeah.
Hey, Todd, by the way, I have one picture for you before we go.
Okay.
I got a picture for you.
All right, go ahead,
See if we can show it.
Too late, they said.
No, it's not. It was the cake that Scott ate last night.
Oh,
dude, you could have done it tomorrow. Oh, we took the music off?
Oh, yeah, we're showing this cake you ate. Look at that thing.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, Scooter took that thing down.
Straight to the hips.
Scooter, that looks good, brother.
Yeah, I wish, dude. I wish I could have touched that. You know what I had for dessert?
You didn't eat it?
I can't. It's got dairy.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's got
You know
fruit
what I
in
had
it.
for
I can't
dessert?
eat it.
Espresso martini.
That's
not bad.
Just a little.
Not bad. I had a long night after that of poker broadcasting. No big deal. Also, by the way, Monday's guest list includes Nolan Gorman of the St. Louis Cardinals. Michael K? Michael K next week?
Little Michael K. We're going to get into him a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's break him down.
We will. Little Todd Father Michael K connection. And Nathaniel Lowe is going to join us next week, too. So just giving some people that hung around with us for a couple hours today a sneak peek of some of the guests coming up over the next week. And guess what? Also, at some point, some other players, I know people are complaining, some other players like, Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, etc. They will sign. I promise you that. I guarantee you they will sign for guaranteed money. No Miami Marlins minor league contract shit. All right? We'll see you on Friday.